So we're back with the 2006 Wrangler Sport. I just picked it up from the body shop today. We got all the problems on the front end taken care of. The front fenders were straightened as necessary and painted. The grille had that pretty big ding on the right, well, our right, but the left side above the headlight. And they did a really good job getting that dent out. And the grille's all painted, the other fender's painted, and the brand new hood has been installed and painted. A lot of the little nicks were also touched up by the body shop. They did a really nice job. I'm happy I went that route, because if I painted it, it would look terrible. So where we sit now is we have the JK coils in the front from the last video, and we got zero height gain out of it. Since the last video, actually I had to get down to the body shop to do this. I had to swap into the rear JK coils in the rear while the car was sitting on the floor at the body shop. It wasn't a big deal. Floor jack, a few tools, didn't take that long. So the rear actually has the 2014 Sahara Unlimited rear coils in it, and definitely got a full 2.5 to 3 inches of height with just the coils, and that's perfect. So we'll install the budget boost spacer in the front tonight and try to get the ride height up level. Doesn't look so bad right now, but I'm sure as soon as I put that front fender flare on, it's going to look a lot worse. It probably has a 2-inch rake to the front right now. So we'll get rid of that. We'll put the shocks in it. And the reason I had to get on the body shop, believe it or not, I sold the 2003 Sport, the black one I just finished. It was on Craigslist for 2 days, and I got an interested buyer. But one of the things he requested was he wanted the lift kit out of the Jeep. He wanted it back to stock. So I had cut the coils out of the front. They came out of the black one. And I think I threw the rear coils away. That was kind of dumb of me, but I threw the rear coils away, so I had to get down to the body shop and steal the rear coils out of this one. And I used the front coils that came out of this truck here to get the black 03 back to stock height. And that was sold this past Saturday. It's now Monday, so we're full force onto the yellow Jeep now. So we'll get the budget boost in there now in the front, try to get the height up level, get the shocks in, and see how it sits. My bright idea now is, since I got at least 2.5 inches out of the rear, the 1 3/4 inch budget boost spacers that I have for the front, I don't think they're going to give us enough height. So I had scavenged these from a parted out Jeep, and I also scavenged the stock insulators. So usually we keep the stock insulator up high, put the spacer on, and then just put the spring on. But for this one, I'm going to stick a second rubber insulator underneath the spacer, get an extra 1/2 inch, and see how that looks. It's easy enough to remove if they don't like it, if it's too high, but I think we could use the extra height in the front, given the fact that the rear got upwards of 2.5+ inches. So we'll give that a shot. Now we got the springs back in both sides with the budget boost spacer and 2 stock insulators. So that should give us about 2 1/4 inches of lift over where it was with just the JK coil. Now the next decision is which shocks to use. I have a set of Rubicon Express, just their entry-level shock with the boot, the rubber boot made for the budget boost. They're probably 2.5 to 3 inch lift shocks. But since I had to remove the lift out of the black 03 that I just sold, I did take back my JK shocks and I put it in a set of stock shocks for that. So the question is to just use these JK shocks to go with the JK springs, or to use the Rubicon Express shocks. This axle right now hanging with all the arms loose, this is at full droop, and The stock shock has plenty of height to accommodate that. So I think I'm just going to stick with the stock JK shocks. I own them. I can use those Rubicon Express on another project to return them. So I might as well send these shocks out with the springs all at once and see what kind of ride it gives the TJ. So that's the way we'll go. We'll get the shocks installed next. We got the Jeep off the lift, and here's the final result of the JK lift. It looks pretty good. We've got pretty even ride height front to rear. The front tire on there now is a smaller spare than the other three, so it looks a little odd, but the actual ride height is the same front and rear. It's just about what I was looking for. Looks like 2.5 inches or so, which will be fine for a 31 or 32 inch tire. Even a 33 should fit. So just to recap, if anyone wants to try this lift, it's very inexpensive. On Craigslist, people are selling JK springs and shocks all the time. You pick up a set for $100 or so. The springs I used were out of a 14 Sahara. The rear springs numbers ended in 5.8. The front spring part numbers ended in 1.7. So 17 in the front and 58 in the rear. I believe those are one step down from the highest spring rate available that would have come in a Rubicon Unlimited. So the springs alone in the rear gave us that much lift. The springs plus a 1 3/4 inch budget boost spacer, plus a second stock insulator, about a 1/2 inch extra, gave us that height in the front. And all the JK shocks fit in there fine. Little modification on the front and rear, which I went over in an earlier video. This is actually the third Jeep in 3 months that those shocks have been installed in. They came on my wife's new Jeep. They went into the black 03. They came out of the black 03, and now they're in the yellow 06. So hopefully they'll stay there. I expect it to ride really well. I may have to mess with the track bars front and rear. Whether I have to get a relocation bracket or just re-drill and gusset the hole to center the axles. I'll wait till everything is done, put a few miles on it, let everything settle in, see where it sits before I do the alignment. So that's it for tonight. We got a lot of work done, and I apologize for the background noise in the earlier segments here. I had the waste oil heaters going full blast today. I had to keep the heat up for a little painting I was doing for somebody. So we'll call it a night, and next time we'll get on to putting all the parts back on the front and refinishing the fender flares and getting the bumpers fixed up. Thank you for watching. We just finished up night 3 on the 2006 Sport. I just got the video camera charged up. Just a few cosmetic things tonight. Back bumper was prepped and painted, and the new bumper ends were installed. On the nose, everything that was disassembled for the body work has been reassembled. So everything under the hood, on the hood, the headlights, markers, fender flares, those were prepped and painted and reinstalled tonight. Got the brand new bumper on the front with the new bumper ends as well. The bumper came with a textured paint, but I repainted it to match the rear, and that's just about dry there now. So everything under the hood, the prop rod and all that's back in. We did a oil change, filter, a front pinion seal was leaking, replaced that tonight. Rear differential fluid in the Dana 44, changed that fluid. Changed the front diff fluid, and transmission fluid was fine. We just checked that. Transfer case fluid was fine, so just top that off. So mechanically, just about there. A couple minor electrical issues with the new steering wheel on. For some reason, if you hit the horn, the wipers come on and the left directional blinks. So there's something in the clock spring or maybe the multifunction switch. I think all that worked fine before we swapped out the steering wheel, so maybe the clock spring is incorrectly or something. But we'll figure that out, and then on to the interior. So we'll get the interior cleaned up, get the carpet installed, and the seats reinstalled, and then one real good cleanup and tires and wheels, and she's ready to go. So this is just an after video tonight, but we got quite a bit done.